Today we'll be looking at a recent repair of a Beosound 9000, but it's a repair with a difference. It's one that doesn't go so well. In fact, it goes wrong in the worst way possible. This all started after I'd repaired and sold a Beocenter 9500, which then put me in touch with a customer who had a Beocenter 9300 that needed repair, which I fixed, and I've made videos on both of these. A few months later, a friend of that customer approached me to service his Beosound 9000. The reported issues were that the door was loose and that the CD moved slowly. I thought that the reported issues were nothing more than minor and mechanical, so I agreed to do the work on this $7,000 CD player. He came over and dropped it off, and at the time I noticed that the CD assembly was not locked and slid up and down. Initially, things went well. The first issue with the CD moving slowly was very common and a safety feature, with the CD clamper mechanism being able to move as fast as it does, reportedly, as fast as a car accelerates from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 5 seconds, and the 9000 not being a sealed unit when the door is closed, which idle fingers could easily access. Beano put lights and light sensors at each end of the 9000 that would detect if there was anything inside the unit when the glass lid was closed. These light sensors were small plastic parts that protruded and would need cleaning to work properly. I cleaned the sensors and it worked fine. The second issue was the loose glass door. When it was closed, it banged into place. This was a simple fix, as all it required was tightening of the hex screw on the hinge. However, when I did this, the door would make an awful glass cracking sound. I then removed the door and discovered that in the support hinge on the right hand side there was fragments of glass. So I disassembled the support hinge and it was indeed full of glass. Glass that matched the panel on the front of the 9000, leading me to suspect that at some point the glass panel on this 9000 was shattered and replaced. With it reassembled and the glass removed, the door opened smoothly. At this point I'd fixed the issues that the customer had mentioned. Perhaps I should have returned it then and there, but there was one other issue, and that was quite a big one. The CD player struggled to play CDs properly, either taking an extended time to read the disc or not being able to play the disc at all. This wasn't ideal. It was obvious to me that the laser was on its way out. You can see here from this video that it's not working at the same speed as my own 9000. After speaking with a qualified Bang Olufsen service person, the next port of call was to put the Beosound 9000 in test mode to identify issues, and there were indeed issues with the CD player. I also wanted to check if the CD tray and clamper mechanism were in alignment. To do this, first you need to remove the glass door, lift and remove the control panel, then lift and slide the metal panel. There is a small panel in the middle that needs to be slid out, and the CD clamper needs to be moved into this position. Then remove the screws from the top cover, then remove the cover and disconnect the cables attaching it. Then you can put this to one side. Then you rotate the machined round cover until it's able to be removed. Next, the plastic cover needs to be removed. There is then 2 metal tabs that need to be unscrewed on each side of the clamper, and a third screw which is through the plastic. The clamper now needs to be removed. This is quite tricky as there is a piece of plastic that is clipped in place which needs to be removed. There is also this ribbon cable that needs to be undone. So I did all this and then I was able to start taking the CD mechanism apart. There are 2 panels with 4 screws that need to be undone, then the left panel can be removed and the right panel that covers the CD laser can be removed. I then removed the CD laser mechanism, and this includes removing another ribbon cable. I cleaned and re-greased the clamper mechanism. At this stage, what I should have done was order the replacement laser, fit it and carefully reassemble the unit and return it to the customer. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. The customer, however, didn't want the CD laser replaced. He said that he didn't use it very often, preferring to listen to music via streaming. But this is a Beosound 9000, a product that is created and centered around the CD by putting it on display. And therefore a Beosound 9000 that doesn't play CDs properly is rather useless. I considered using a laser that I already had, but there are slight differences in the Philips lasers used for the 9000s, and exact part numbers are crucial for proper operation. And as the system was still semi-functional, I reassembled it. But now when testing CDs, it had more issues. First, there was a scraping noise when the CD clamper moved, and the laser was now really struggling to play CDs, often not being able to read CDs or only playing the first few tracks. So apart it came once again. I adjusted the clamper and that resolved the scraping sound, but then there was this horrific smell which was always fun when doing repair on electronics, and it was the smell of hot plastic. It was the small motor that moves the CD clamper up and down. It had overheated because the small plastic clip that I mentioned before was not installed properly, causing the mechanism to jam. I immediately turned it off, let it cool down, and reassembled it properly. And at first it was still working with no issues. However, the next time I turned it on, it was dead. It had no life in it at all. I contacted the B&O service agent who walked me through checking the power supply, as it's the first thing to check. I removed the power supply and discovered a broken fuse. I sourced new fuses and installed them, but they blew instantly. So how had an almost fully functional 9000 died so suddenly? It was discussed that it might be the CD clamper. The CD clamper and mechanism is quite a feat of engineering. As mentioned, this mechanism can move the CD clamper very quickly. To achieve this, the CD clamper is attached to a metal braided cable that is attached to the CD clamper, which is then fed around pulleys at each end of the CD player, and this is attached to a large motor, a very large and powerful motor. This motor is controlled by the triacs on the sledge board, which control the speed. However, these triacs are sensitive and are prone to failure if the CD clamper is moved when powered off, as if it moves, then it acts as a generator, causing current and voltage that is then reverse fed into the triacs. Now, I do not recall at any time during repair the CD clamper sliding excessively, except when it was dropped off by the customer, who should have perhaps made sure that the CD wasn't sliding about. To make the situation worse, I'd had the Beosound 9000 for about a month, and the customer was requesting it back. Now, the most simple solution at this stage would have been to replace the motorboard, if I could find such a thing, but that may not resolve the issue, because if it wasn't the CD clamper that caused the triacs to blow, then replacing it wouldn't solve the underlying issue. To say at this stage that I was stressed out and out of my depth would be an understatement. I therefore made the brave decision to send it off to the B&O service agent to have the issue diagnosed and repaired. Yes, I had run out of talent and now had to admit defeat. Now, the service agent was able to diagnose the issues. As suspected, there was an issue with the sledge board, and now the CD player, while the service agent was fixing it, could only read CDs in the first disposition. And there were also issues with the radio not working. The B&O service agent then told me that the possible cause of the sledge mechanism failing was the overheating clamper motor, which may have caused current to flow back through the circuit, causing the triacs to blow. But it's hard to say for sure. The Beosound contains so many circuit boards, and therefore there are many points of failure. It's difficult to diagnose the exact cause of an issue. Another month had now passed, but after a lot of hard work by the B&O service agent, the Beosound 9000 was fixed, and it was then returned to the customer, who liked the repair so much that he sold it. This has been a lesson in how some products are harder to fix than others. I went into this thinking that it was within my knowledge to fix it, as I have fixed many Bang Olufsen products with their weird mechanical internals before, but the 9000 is something else. Many circuit boards, many points of failure, and easy to cause serious damage while not going near the big voltage parts. The most likely cause of this failure was a tiny $5 motor which blew up a $7,000 CD player. And the final invoice confirmed that the sledge board and the clamper motor was replaced, as well as the CD laser. But this line here confirms that the clamper motor overheating caused the issues with the sledge board. So that's the story of how I didn't fix a Bang Olufsen Beosound 9000. In fact, I ended up blowing it up. It's a cautionary tale I decided to tell if there are others out there who think that they have a talent to fix them. I would suggest maybe leaving this one alone, as one small wrong move with a misfitting part or doing the wrong thing without really doing it intentionally can cause the whole thing to go bang. It really is like a booby-trapped electronic device. And if you enjoyed the content, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss when I bring out new videos. And maybe let me know down below if you've fixed any Bang & Olufsen Beosound 9000s. Maybe you had better luck than me. Maybe yours didn't blow up. Or maybe you fixed some other Bang Olufsen products. Anyway, I'll be along soon with more great videos like this. Thank you so much for watching.